You twist open a bottle you've trusted 1,000 times. 2 capsules, a sip of water. The kind of moment you forget before the glass hits the counter. But in the fall of 1982, in the Chicago area, that ordinary routine turned terrifying. Within hours, neighborhoods panicked, shelves were emptied, and America learned that even a medicine cabinet could become a crime scene. Stay with me, because this case changed the way we all live. It started on the morning of September 29, 1982. 12-year-old Mary Kellerman woke up with a cold. Her parents gave her an extra-strength Tylenol capsule. Something simple, something safe. Minutes later, she collapsed. At the hospital, doctors worked fast, but there was no clear cause, no obvious warning, just a sudden, devastating loss. And before anyone could grasp what had happened, more cases began to surface. A young postal worker named Adam Janis took Tylenol and died unexpectedly. In the shock of grief, his family gathered at his home. 2 of them took pain relievers from the same bottle to ease their headaches. Both collapsed. 2 more lives, gone within hours. A single family, struck 3 times in one day. Elsewhere in the area, Mary McFarland, a hard-working retail manager, and Mary Reiner, a new mother, reached for the same brand. And a flight attendant, Paula Prince, was photographed buying a bottle that would later be found open in her apartment. 7 victims, ordinary routines, the same product, no warning. Emergency rooms filled with questions and fear. Investigators raced the clock, comparing symptoms and timelines. Nurses and doctors noticed a clue, an unusual bitter odor sometimes associated with cyanide. Tests were rushed, capsules were examined, and the truth hit with chilling clarity. Several bottles of extra-strength Tylenol had been laced with potassium cyanide. In some cases, the doses were far beyond lethal. The scale of the problem was unknown. How many bottles were out there? How many cabinets? Police cars drove through neighborhoods with loudspeakers, warning residents to throw away Tylenol capsules. News anchors told viewers to stop, to check, to dump anything suspicious. Across the country, people opened bathroom cabinets and poured capsules into sinks. Trust, a quiet thing you don't notice, shattered in an instant. The next question was cruelly practical. Where did the tampering happen? At the factory, in transit, on the shelf. Investigators examined lot numbers and store locations. The pattern suggested an unnerving possibility. Someone had likely pulled bottles off retail shelves around Chicago, opened them, replaced some capsules with cyanide, and returned the bottles. Calmly, invisibly. In 1982, there were no tamper-evident seals, no glued flaps. A small act could slide by without a sound. Meanwhile, Johnson & Johnson, Tylenol's parent company, made a decision that would be studied for decades. They told the public not to use any Tylenol. Then they recalled 31 million bottles nationwide. It cost hundreds of millions of dollars and might have saved countless lives. In a world where corporations sometimes hesitate, this move was swift, visible, and human. Still, fear lingered. People had capsules at home. Copycat threats began to surface. The idea had escaped into the culture. A massive task force formed, local police, state authorities, federal agents. They traced distribution routes, checked inventory sheets, and interviewed clerks and pharmacists. They followed home videos, receipts, and any scrap of surveillance available in an era before cameras watched every aisle. One image stuck with the public, a photo of Paula Prince buying Tylenol at a Walgreens. She looked calm, like any of us. That picture became a symbol of how exposed everyday life had become. Then came a letter. Johnson & Johnson received an extortion note from a man claiming responsibility and demanding money to stop. It felt like a break, maybe even a confession. Investigators followed the trail to a man named James William Lewis. He was convicted of extortion for sending the letter. But authorities did not charge him with the poisonings, and he denied tampering with the bottles. The case remained open, complicated and painfully unresolved. Other leads rose and fell, names appeared in the press, alibis checked out, timelines didn't fit, cyanide kills quickly, and tampering with a capsule leaves little trace. Unless you catch someone in the act or they talk, you're chasing a shadow. Detectives piece together movements and motives, but the final piece, the one that names a culprit beyond doubt, never locked into place. While investigators searched, the nation changed. In 1983, the United States passed the Federal Anti-Tampering Act, making it a serious federal crime to tamper with consumer products. Packaging transformed. You know those triple protections? The glued box, the foil seal under the cap, the plastic shrink band around the lid. Much of that became standard because of this case. Capsules gave way to solid caplets, harder to manipulate. The little inconveniences we accept at the sink were built for a reason. It's easy to focus on corporate steps and legal codes, but at the core are families and ordinary moments. A parent handing a child something for a cold, a worker easing a headache after a long shift, a new mother trying to recover. The fear wasn't in an alleyway or a back road. It was in kitchens and bathrooms. That's why this story stayed with America. It didn't ask you to go somewhere dangerous. It came home. Theories remain. Some believe it was a single person acting alone, someone local, familiar with stores across the Chicago area, who understood which brands moved quickly. Others think the pattern hints at more than one person, or a copycat who struck during the panic. The timing suggests a narrow window, fast enough to place multiple bottles before warnings spread, precise enough to avoid detection. None of the theories answer everything. That's what makes it haunting. The Tylenol murders also reset how companies handle crises. Johnson & Johnson pulled product, issued clear warnings, and returned with tamper-evident packaging and coupon programs to rebuild trust. Business schools still study the playbook. It didn't undo the loss. Nothing could. But it drew a line. Safety first, transparency fast, and trust treated like the fragile thing it is. In the end, the power of this case lies in its simplicity and its impact. A few altered capsules changed how laws are written, how factories run, how stores stock shelves, and how you and I open a bottle. Private habits became public safety. And yet, despite the headlines, the labs, and the manhunts, the person behind it has never been named in a courtroom for the murders. If there's a lesson, it's this. Much of our safety arrives after tragedy, quietly, in the form of tiny barriers and labels most of us ignore. Every time you break a seal and hear that soft pop, air, plastic glue, you're hearing an echo of 1982 and of 7 lives that changed the rules for the rest of us. We'll keep telling these stories with care, without graphic details, and always with respect for the people at the center of them. If you want more deep dives into the cases that reshaped American life, hit subscribe. And if you're ready for another mystery with a lasting legacy, our next episode is waiting for you right now. Stay safe and check the seal.